Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal Review Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles. On the review show tonight, Monday, October the 6th, and joined by regular pundits Eamonn Donnelly and Conor McCarthy to analyse Saturday's 2-0 home victory over Westham United. Remember to check out our review and preview shows on Spotify and also on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel. So sit back and enjoy the show. It's great as always to have, first of all, Eamonn Donnelly. How's your vision now, baby?
Evening, Jonathan. Evening, Conlip. My vision is great there. I saw a fella dressed as a worm. Right. And he offered me a stick of chewing gum. I said, what make is? He said, it's Wrigley's. So there you go. No, vision is good. Got eye surgery last week and all going well. Um, I'll have the other eye done at the end of next week. So I won't be looking at the games like that anymore. So, no, I mean, my vision is good. It's back to 90% now.
Oh,
Thank
lovely,
you.
Gordon. That's great news, Eamon. And for you'll definitely need clearer vision for the next few months with the Arsenal top of the table. So nothing better.
Now, where
Also,
do I put that beer?
you definitely had never any problems with long sightedness or short sightedness in terms of drinking, can we?
No, I could smell the hops.
That's the beer Moretti. It's great to have Conor McCarthy on. Todd, how are you?
Super stuff. Well, Eamon will have the beer. I have actually some whiskey up in the kitchen for myself now if I want this up.
So once it's
Jesus.
alcohol,
Some
it's
real
it's
straight whiskey.
yeah, he's going on the hard stuff already, eh? We're only 7 days in. What would he be like come May?
I just want to
Uh,
assure the listeners that this show promotes the notion of drink aware. Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
I.e., don't drink that Camden Hells Emirates Stadium.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
absolute rocket fuel. It's great to have you both on board, lads, and a big shout out to Martin Stoneville for having us back up on the Dublin Art YouTube channel. Thanks very much, mate. As always. Um, in terms of Saturday's match review, of course, a 2-0 win over West Ham. Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka after 67 minutes scored the penalty. This is, of course, Mikel Arteta's 300th game in charge for the Gunners. His record stands at 179 wins, 51 draws, and 68 losses. It was also Bukayo Saka has played 314 appearances for club and country in all competitions since making his senior debut in November 2018. All this at the age of 24. Eamon, you'll always be our star boy. Were you doing this sort of form at the age of 24?
I'd made 324 appearances in Bad Bobs at that stage, I think. I don't. Yeah, he's 200 Premier League appearances and 100 goal involvements. Like
Yeah, it's
that's phenomenal.
incredible.
And on the Arteta thing, he's the best record for wins out of 300 games of any Arsenal manager, including the great Herbert Chapman and the great Arsene Wenger.
Yeah,
So
it's an
it's
incredible
not too
achievement.
shabby.
Yeah, 100%, Eamon. Um, Bukayo Saka, as you said, is 200 Premier League appearances, 100 goal Premier League involvements, 55 goals and 45 assists. Astronomical, Mikel Arteta said. Conley, how impressed were you with them stats?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. It shows you 300 games down the line how he's left us in such a great position from when he started. We've gone over what he took over and what we're at now. It's incredible what he's done. It's a very good record for, again, someone in his first job. You know what I mean? So it's so incredible. And Saka as well, it just shows how important a player he is to us, in just all competitions and everything. Did say before on the show last year on how we were probably a bit reliant on him and everything, but it just shows the class of the player at such an early age as well, which is just amazing. And coming out of the youth as well, and uh, you have a few other notable names coming up from the academy as well. So future's looking very bright, and Saka's just been incredible. And fair play to the two of them.
incredible
And Jonathan,
achievement.
could I just say, like, Saliba has signed a new contract, and all things are pointing towards Saka signing a new contract. And I think once and for all, we need to ask the question, why are they doing that? Right? So for all you naysayers out there, who were screaming for Arteta's head after a one-all draw at home against Man City, and everything was painted black, right? We now sit on top of the table. You see, right?
Yeah.
Because I told you Liverpool had a false start, right? And now the season can begin. We're into another international break. But the reason why Saliba has signed a new contract and the reason why Saka will most likely sign a new contract is because they see a future at Arsenal. And they see a future because of what Arteta and the coaching staff have built. And that should put that argument to bed. They're not staying here for the crack.
No, absolutely, Eamon. I think the fact that players are signing non-union contracts is a good sign that what we're building is very stable and will fulfill us onto the future, even if Arteta wants to go at some stage, we'll be stable enough that we won't collapse. It won't be a Man United, which
Correct.
is a very good sign. And yeah, I'd agree with you, Aim, and think the Arteta out after the 1-1 draw with City was a very large overreaction for sure. Especially we were only 4 or 5 games into the season. You know what I mean? And it was way too early to be calling that. I don't think we had played our first game in Europe. It was only just after Bilbao as well,
Yeah.
which was a bit mental. So yeah, I think it was just an overreaction, but a big one at that. And we're doing really well now. And um, yeah, I think we're in the driving seat now, which is a great thing. And so far, we're doing well to keep going. So we'll see if we can keep going now. Put the pressure on.
Yeah, 100% Conor and Eamon. Yeah, this is an exciting period of Arteta's reign. From what he inherited, as we've discussed on numerous podcasts in 2019, he burned down the house, and the last few transfer windows, last 3 or 4 transfer windows, he's got his players in, and the depth of the squad. When you look at the bench, what we can bring on. It's just something phenomenal. Um, in terms of Saturday's lineup, in goal was David Raya. At the back was Jordan Timber, William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Ricardo Calafiori. In midfield, Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice, Eberechi Eze. Up front, Bukayo Saka, Victor Gyökeres, and Leandro Trossard. And off the bench came Martin Zubimendi, Miles Lewis Kelly, Ethan Nwaneri, Mikel Merino, and Gabriel Martinelli. Um, of course, Martin Odegaard suffered a medial collateral ligament injury to his left knee, aiming due to a clash of knees. Do you feel this will put him out for a month or so? Do you think this is a this
Well,
will
depends.
be?
No, it depends on how deep that's gone.
Yeah,
I mean, something like first of all, it's not like an ACL, right?
yeah,
Your medial collateral ligament, it goes around the side of your knee. So he opened out his joint and he got a bang in it, and there's a strain there. So it depends on how deep the strain is.
yeah.
And if the strain is not too deep, and I'm just guessing, I'm not a physiologist, right? I'm just guessing that because he tried to play on, that it can't have been that bad. He could
Mm.
move it. So I think you're looking at a 4-week injury.
Or week injury up until the next international break, realistically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
and the beautiful thing, we've got quality now to replace, these players when they do get injured, which is something we didn't have last season. When you looked at the bench, without worry at all. He's been unfortunate, Conley, picking up a shoulder injury. He's had a stop start uh, to the season with niggly injuries, you could say, without worry at all if he is out for a month.
Well, last year I would have worried, but this year with the bench that we have, I think we have the quality there to go in and replace him. And it's a bit of a shame because the past few games he was really getting back to his old brilliant form. But thankfully now you look at the bench and just as Gas, because you were calling out the team sheet, there wasn't one player who wouldn't have been a starting team. You know what I mean? Even the subs that came on, you know.
Yeah,
So the quality's definitely there. It's just a matter of which one of those will replace them. Who's kind of that creative player who'll take up that in the middle. But we'll see what happens. That's supposed to fascinating thing as well. Who's gonna come in from, but the depth, as we referred to many times, is there. So that's why I'm not worrying. But last year probably would have.
Jonathan, can I just come in on a technical point?
yeah. Go ahead.
Because because my difficulty with Martin Odegaard is that the only thing he can do as a footballer is get on the ball, make space for himself, and create beautiful moments. Right? He's a brilliant player, right? Brilliant technician. But what he can't do is go into contact and come out with any result. That's why I've always said we're conceding the corner. Get Odegaard on the halfway line. We do not want him in the box defending. He
Yeah,
can't tackle. He can't go into contact. He doesn't need to go into contact. So you can always have one player that doesn't need to go into contact. We've got We've got beasts all over the pitch, right? Who go into contact and know how to go into contact to come out of it. Martin has gone into three contacts this year, damaged his shoulder twice and his knee once. Now, what's that telling you? Don't go into contact. Unless you can nick the ball away cleanly, don't go into contact. You're not good at it. You don't know how to address it. But when you get on the ball, you're as sweet as a nut. So I
yeah,
think there's an element that we've got to do that with
Mm.
him now, you know?
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think with Martin Subamendi coming on Saturday for him, he kind of seemed as he moved into that role, didn't he? And
No.
his balls over the top were amazing as well on Saturday.
No, but he didn't
And
go into
pass
that
for the
role.
first
No, he
goal.
didn't. No, he didn't go into that role. He went into the role that Declan Rice was doing.
Yeah.
They
Who would you
switched
actually
around.
aim in? Who would you put in for Odegaard as a replacement?
Moriarty.
Yeah. Would you yourself, Conlon?
Which?
Who would you put in ahead of Odegaard if you were to pick him? You know, who would be ideal in that role?
The first one that comes to mind, um, I'll still have to look over it. The first one that comes to mind for some reason is Eze.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, or you can push up Subimendi either
Yeah,
if you're stuck. But my first choice would be Eze.
would be
That's
Eze.
just me though.
Yeah, he kind of seems he comes in, doesn't he? Yeah, he's had a good
Yeah.
start to his Arsenal career, Eze as well. Yeah, the fans have taken to him.
But Jonathan, what happened on Saturday was, and this is down to the coaching staff. Some people say Arsenal are overcoached. I don't buy that, right? What happened was Declan was at the base of the midfield. When Zubimendi came on, Zubimendi went to the base of the midfield. Declan pushed on up into a more attacking space, right? Calafiori came in and caused havoc all over the place,
Yeah,
right?
he did. Yeah,
So look, we're adaptable. That's the point.
yeah,
If you ask me for a like replacement, oh you want Martin Odegaard on the pitch and you can't have him, who would you stand exactly in that position? I'd go for Eamonn all day long. But
yeah,
Connor's right. It could be Eze, but it's in a different triangle. It's in a
yeah,
different
Mm.
formation, you know?
yeah,
That's the great thing about the scubs, the bench that we have. You
Yeah.
know, the flexibility, as you've pointed out, Eamon, and with all the qualities of the players that they have that they can bring on. And that's what makes us unpredictable because if we want to go and win the league, you know, we can't be founded out or anything. We have to have different things that other teams can have to handle. We have to have many tricks up our sleeve if we are to go about doing this. And that's probably one of the reasons why Arteta was crying out for the depth for so long. All the different qualities of different players that you can bring on depending on the match and
yeah,
adaptability. So that's a great point, Eamon, actually, that you brought up.
yeah.
But
I don't know.
just let me just finish that jigsaw, right? So if that game had finished 0-0, right? And we'd have been trying to pass our way around them and around them and around them, or even as happened in the last two seasons, we got caught with sucker punches. There'd have been a meltdown. But leave that
Yeah.
aside. But the reason why it didn't finish 0-0 was because we were unpredictable. Calafiori caused absolute chaos by coming into the centre of the pitch, even towards the right hand side. Bowen, because he's such a good professional, didn't know what to do. So he started following Calafiori into the middle of the pitch. That opened out space on the left hand side, right? Gyökeres decides all his attacking channel is going to be down the inside left channel because he was trying so hard. Now, I think Gyökeres was a bit clumpy at the weekend, and I think he was making his runs too early. I think he was too keen to get on the end of something that the ball obviously seemed to be coming across behind him. But I'll tell you what he did do. He occupied both of their centre halves on the left-hand side of our attack, which meant that there was a massive big space. Saka decided to hug the touchline. That made the space even bigger. And guess what? Jurriën Timber starts running into an inside right channel time and time again. Now, that's different. And this is the reason why I'm making that point. That's different than constantly passing the ball across. That's disrupting the whole thing and making us different. And we are more unpredictable. And I think we'd be better at breaking down that low block as a result.
Yes, and you could see in past seasons how we were just passing it laterally
Yeah.
quite a lot. And like people are saying this season, Arsenal have been more direct. That's why we're more direct, because of the options we have now and the capability we have off the bench as well.
You're right, Conor, but it's not only the options in terms of players, it's the creation of space and
Yes.
Yeah.
how the coaching staff, right, have given us a platform to do what we did by moving players all over the place. See, if you move players all over the place, so long as you know what you're doing, the opposition
Mm.
don't know what you're doing, right? I'll tell you one thing about Calafiori. As soon as we were dispossessed, regardless of where he was in the pitch, he slotted back straight back to the left full back position to make sure Bowen was tied up. We're smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bones arguably their most dangerous option as well.
100%.
Yeah.
He's a great professional. I love
They, yeah,
Yeah.
they notified him on Saturday. Yeah. Um, in terms of our goals, lads, SA's right for the shot was pushed away by Ardiola, but only into the path of Declan Rice, who buried it into the roof, roof of the net. Another goal against his ex club. And he had a really good game, Declan Rice as well. As Eamonn said, Calafiori had a right footed strike that hit Ariola's left hand post. Important not to go in because it came off the back of Ariola and it was cleared by our former defender, Mavropanos. Um, then on 52 in the second half, Rice's cross that was nearly missed by Gyökeres. Oh, very unlucky. He was diving in and he was very unlucky not to get off the mark. And he's getting into those positions now, Gyökeres, last few games. He's getting closer and closer now to them, kind of getting onto the end of them. And you can see we're
Mm.
kind of working his strengths as well. Um, the penalty came on 16 minutes. The ball over the top by Zubimendi was run onto by Jurriën Timber. And he was bundled over by Giouf of West Ham. It was a clear penalty. And Saka just wears with confidence as he always does. Really, West Ham didn't really have literally many chances, to be honest. Callum Marshall at the end, in that time in the second half, had it over. But as Eamon says, we battered them, in terms of possession. It was 68% to ourselves, 32 to West Ham, and shots on target was 5 to ourselves and none to West Ham. So that told the story of the game. Eamon, the two goals, Eamon, what did you make them for ourselves?
Well, look, it was a result of good creative play because for the first goal, I think it was Zubimendi pitched it into that inside right channel that I've been talking about that was vacant because Gyökeres kept pulling over to the other side of the box and dragging two central defenders with him, right? So that inside, and then Eze made a good contact on the ball, gets it across, right? Reasonably good save, and Declan finished it really calmly and calmly looked at the West Ham fans. When we play at their place, West Ham fans give him a standing ovation, right? Because most West Ham fans know what Declan did for that club, but the away fans gave him board, and I think he would have offended them less by running off with a big celebration than he did the way he just stared at them. Like the second goal, again another lovely ball. Timber in that inside right channel. Again, it was a penalty all day.
Yeah.
But can I just say this to you? an opposition who want to come to us playing a low block will look at that saying the Arsenal want to go down the inside right channel. So what we've got to do is on a day that that's not working, well then it has to be mayhem on the other side and all of that type of thing. Gyökeres then shifts his runs over to the right hand side of the box. Remember I used to say about an elastic band, right? When
Yes.
you play that low block, you're on an elastic band, and the more and more ways you find to stretch that, it snaps. And that's exactly what happened twice at the weekend, three times actually, because Eze missed an absolute howler early on. But we snapped that elastic band. We have become more street smart in breaking down that low block. That's what Saturday told me. We were patient. That was his routine at 2-0. West Ham came really well organised. They played a 4-2-3-1. They were really well organised, but their ambition now, it was like Port the graveyard of ambition. I mean, it was just like shocking, like, But that being said, I think they tried to stay in the game as long as they could. And no offense to my many friends in Port by the way. But I just think that we worked that out a little bit better. And the one last shout I wanted to make, I think Gabriel Heinze has made a big difference in terms of how solid defensively we are
100%.
um,
I mean, yeah,
on the
yeah.
coaching staff. But I want to give us Barnett a big shout out. It's quality. It's actually like it's like a McDonald's sign. It's kind of you know. And in the research I do for this show, relentless as I am, I watched the game back on Arsenal.com yesterday in full, and Perry Groves was doing the co-commentary,
I
and he
love
was
Perry
brilliant.
Groves. I love him.
He was brilliant. See this guy Somerville that they had playing for West Ham. Like obviously he replicated my joke saying he's just out to prove he's not a small town boy, and we get all that. But then later on in the
I
game.
can't believe he listens to the Dublin Arsenal
Come
podcast.
here. Yeah, but later on in the game, later on in the game, Somerville got blown up for a foul, and he said the referee just said to Somerville, "That's not a foul, that's a foul," and Somerville just said, "It ain't necessarily so." Like another Jimmy Somerville Bronski beat, classic. Like good man Perry.
I love Perry
He
Groves.
also said that the information that Arsenal have available that is based on algorithms, logarithms, and all sorts of rhythms. I mean, come on, like this guy's quality, you know?
We wonder where Eamonn got all this from. Who's seen and whose lines? There's only one Perry Groves.
Oh, tell
Like,
you,
he's banging, isn't he? He comes up with a
we
few
all live in a Perry Gross
Perry Groves
world. Yeah,
scores now. What a shit, yeah. What a fair as well, yeah. Um, Bukayo Saka had a goal disallowed, Eamon. Was that the right call?
yeah,
Offside all day on.
he went too early.
Yeah, it was a beautiful finish, though. Yeah, it was a pity it didn't stand, but in the end, it didn't matter, thank God. Um, Conor, to yourself, um, what do you make of the two goals yourself, Conor? In particular, Declan Rice, when players face their old teams, they don't want to celebrate, with a mark of respect. But do you think that has to go to celebrate the goal? You know, what do you think?
Well, it's up to him, but I think he's been at the club at us for a while now.
Yeah,
I don't think should be wearing. And look, as long as long as he's as he's like the as Eamon pointed out, it was the fact that they were giving a mistake is why he did it.
Yeah.
So, but it's been a while since it's been a while since he left. So I think we will be able to let this one slide. In terms of the goals. I think they were two well taken goals. I mean, the shot Eze took was going right into that corner. Keeper did well, but Rice showed. We've seen Rice's ability to kind of go on thundering runs, and he was lurking in the right position there to just dog home. It was a great finish. Now for the foul, it was. Well, I guess it was last man back was why it was a penalty because the contact was made outside the box. It was a definite foul for sure. I mean, just tumbled into the back of him. But to me, the foul was just outside. But nonetheless, the finish was superb from Saka.
But the
He's
rule, I actually thought that myself, Conor, but the rule is that if the contact continues inside the box, it's a penalty.
right. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But
you look
then,
at the more
yeah,
and more closely, it did happen more in the box, didn't it? Shioff was just clumsy. I think he had no choice
yeah.
but to timber down.
It
Because
did carry on into the box, in
when
fairness.
when
Yeah.
when I, when I
So,
wa- when I was in the supporters club because I'm obviously I can't travel with my until I get my eye surgery finished. But like I was in the supporters club and myself and Baker John, who was a
Yeah,
very astute guy,
yeah,
we looked at it and when we saw the replay, we said that's not a penalty. But I looked it up to see what the rule was, and the rule is if the contact carries on into the box, well then it's a penalty, and it did.
yeah.
yeah, that's very, yeah,
It happened in the
that's,
point of the game on 67 minutes. It really killed West Ham, didn't it? It came at the right time. The second goal, didn't it? West Ham were all but stuffed down, weren't they?
yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah,
And just the finish of the penalty from Saka was right in the corner. It was a brilliant finish.
it was actually. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely brilliant. It was a great way to add to his goal tally. We pointed it out at the start of the show. So it was richly deserved as well. Um, so yeah, that's what I have to say about the two goals. Well taken them, well taken finishes, I have to say.
yeah. We had Pádraig Donlan on last week, an avid West Ham fan, from here. Eamonn, West Ham 19th in the table with 4 points now. Would it worry you at all that they'd be in a relegation scrap, or do you think there's enough quality there?
No, because I think no, because I think that, and this is no reflection on Graham Potter. I just think that the way they were organised and the way and what I saw at Everton, last Monday night, I think they'll get out of trouble.
Yeah, these are
Yeah.
kind of when they meet the top teams, and no disrespect to West Ham, these are kind of free hit games, aren't they? They're not expected to get anything out of them,
No,
especially
no, yeah, but
yeah.
well,
Well, they
hold
could.
on.
Well, they have to win. We found out
No,
last season, but yeah, yeah.
Sure.
they
Could
won
grab
last
a
You
season on a
2-1 away to
Sunday.
City, you
What?
never know. It could
I,
be
Yeah,
one of
I,
those strange
I think
ones.
I think that's another reason why Declan was so kind of keen to give them the eyes because he was taken off in one game against them last year, and the game before that he gave away a penalty which they missed, and they were kind of deriding him a little bit. It wasn't just about the board that he was getting on Saturday. It was more to do with the accumulation of three games that gave him dogs
Do you
abuse.
think he gets? It is a bit unrespectful, disrespectful, certainly to West Ham fans. The service he gave West Ham.
Hold
And
on,
do you not think?
hold on.
Yeah.
When Robin van Persie came back to Arsenal,
Well,
well,
what a muck,
how's
what
that
a
any different?
what a muck savage he was.
Well, I can tell you how it's different because um, Van Persie kidded everybody and agitated for a move through the media, right?
Yeah,
That's how it's different. But Fabregas, for example, was always a guy that I felt gave everything to Arsenal. And the fact that he signed for Chelsea, well, we had first dibs on him if we didn't take him, right? And
yeah.
then some supporters then, because he signed for Chelsea, so he should have never signed for Chelsea. Bullshit. That's it's a career move, you know. He
You
gave
know how
us a
big the
number of great
fans are,
years,
though.
and I'm glad that the the little bit of acrimony that was shown towards Fabregas has disappeared in the stadium. He's now considered an Arsenal legend, and rightly so.
Doing a top job at Como as well. So he's in terms of a managerial career, fair play to him. Would it worry you at all yourself, Conley, that West Ham could be involved in the relegation scrap?
Well, I think the new manager we've seen what he did with Forest. I think he'll get them out of trouble, if he's given a bit of time. I can see them probably getting 15th, 14th, 16th, that kind of area. I'd say with the new
West Ham.
manager in.
Yeah.
I think when Potter, it was just going on in loops and cycles. So I think the new manager in it was definitely needed for them to get out of the scrap. They will survive, I'd say, by maybe 5, 10 points. Probably more than that, probably more than five actually. But I think they'll be there. They'll be,
West Ham are paying the price, Conor, for a really bad transfer window.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of messing around with the move to London Stadium and trying to hit the top might be catching back to them as well.
Yeah.
Um,
It,
as well, that could be
well,
another point. I
I
don't know,
think
but
under Nuno Santo though, they should have enough there, to survive.
yeah,
I think they'll be
Time
okay.
time will tell. Saturday's results, of course. They just go top of the table. Um, with in points now. Second are Liverpool, of course, got defeated at Stamford Bridge. 2-1 against Chelsea. Second with 15, Spurs with 14, and Bournemouth fourth with 14 points. A different looking top four to previous years, but I'm sure as the season goes on, that will change every week. Next up for ourselves is Fulham away at 5:30 on Saturday, October the 18th. Always a tough ground to go to Craven Cottage. Marco Silva seems to get the best from his team against a few ex-Gunners there. Um, would you worry at all, Eamonn, at Craven Cottage?
Of course I'm worried. I'm worried for every game. Like,
Here's a
I don't, like
caring
I've said to you
father.
before, I don't support Arsenal. I worry about them. Like, it's different.
that's that's detrimental to anyone.
Of course I worry. Well, are we better than Fulham? Yeah. Should we win the game? Yeah. And if things go well, we will. You know?
In terms of Eamon's hair loss, you can see how much he's worried about Arsenal throughout his age. Um,
We need to take the Dave O'Leary approach. As I say, go to Craven Cottage and get on with it. Just get on with it.
yeah, we stay in London for the next two fixtures, Fulham away and Crystal Palace at home. That's not going to be easy because Oliver Glasner's really turned aside from the defeat yesterday against Everton.
Well, Oliver's army are here to stay.
Yeah. What do you think of Crystal Palace, Eamon? They've done
That,
so
that went over your head, Jonathan.
I just ignored
Oliver's army are here to stay. Did you ever heard of Elvis Costello? No.
Sadly, we're too young for you, Eamon, at this stage.
For
Really
the
showing
older
his age
viewers, for the
now, I tell you.
loyalists.
Anyone in the King's Head, they'll know.
um,
He's definitely a golden oldie.
Actually, it's funny you should mention Palace because I've watched Palace twice in the last week, right? And really, they had everything to the sword yesterday and made a balls of it, right?
Yeah, they
Because
did actually, yeah.
Mateta had missed two openers, right? And they were very, very good against Liverpool. But this brings me on to the Eze point playing for Arsenal. Eze is no longer a big fish in a small pond, right? Because with the way Palace played last year, they kept getting the ball to him all the time.
Yeah,
That's not happening in Arsenal because there are more players who get on the ball, right? So he's got to find his groove in the whole thing. I watched Palace yesterday. Like they're playing a different way. They're going much more direct without Eze on the pitch. And anything that they are going through, they're going through Adam Wharton, who's a smashing player, you know.
absolutely. Absolutely,
But
yeah.
Palace are playing a different way. I'll tell you what, they're like an Olympic sprint team. They really are powerful, you know.
Yeah, very pacey, haven't they? There's
Mhm.
some pace
Yeah,
down
they're
the
very
flanks.
pacey. Yeah, yeah.
Um, especially that Munoz fella that scored yesterday. He's some player.
Yeah,
Man of the
they
match
should
from
have won that game
Saturday.
yesterday. They really should, you know.
Man of the match from Saturday, Eamon, for ourselves.
But did you see the chance Mateta missed? Oh, sake God.
I'll have to go back and watch that.
With a couple
He
of
was,
minutes left, back to man of the match.
all I can say, Jonathan, the chance Mateta missed was like Dennis the Russian.
I knew you'd bring up that Emirates tournament.
Like,
Only the lonely, as Eamon says.
yeah.
Man of the match, Conor from Saturday.
Well, I'll pick one. And probably go with I'll probably go with Declan Rice.
But you, Eamon, man of the match.
Zuba because he created two goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it. I'll give it to boy Kaya Saka. For getting this 100 goal involvement. I think a big shout out to him. Would you like to sing us out with Only the Lonely?
No, but I can say it ain't necessarily so. I can do a Somerville.
You wouldn't get this on
Right on
ours.
team.
You wouldn't get this on ours, Cass, I tell you.
No,
Other shows have a lot to live up to. That's all I
I'm
can say.
charging next week.
Big shout out, thanks to Conla and Eamon. Check out our show on Spotify and the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel. Until next time, thanks lads, and come on you Gunners.